You're mad. I'm back.
Hey, I told you guys, you never know when I'm going to go live. Shout out to my TikTok fam. Head on over to the KEMPIRE Daily YouTube channel or us on the KEMPIRE on Facebook and KEMPIRE Radio Network on Facebook. We are live. I wanted to do a quick recap of the Real Housewives of Dallas. I know it's a growing franchise. I hear mixed information on if people are into it or if they're not. Well, you know, they just added Dr. Tiffany Moon to the cast, who's one of my favorite additions. Apparently, I'm hearing that she may not return for another season. But after this season, I'm like, I like Dr. Tiffany Moon. I don't like the fact that she's trying to fit in with these ladies. However, I do enjoy her. But I know you're here for the big T. You're here, you're wondering, what in the hell is going on with Brandi Redmond's husband? Well, Brandi was a big focal point on this latest episode with her religious beliefs. I'm so confused by her because, as Deandra pointed out, she's been very contradictory in past seasons in regards to her very Christian beliefs. And I love that Deandra really called her out and like, I'm very educated Christian. You know, I've, explored other religions, but I've come back to my Christianity. But it's so interesting that we have this particular episode of The Real Housewives of Dallas at the same time when we've discovered this new story, alleged story, and video. It's all about receipts this week. I think I'm going to call that the episode of my podcast this week. Don't forget, the KEMPIRE Radio podcast comes out every Wednesday and Friday. No episode today because I've been busy, like here talking to you guys. But Friday's episode is all about hot topics and entertainment. And there's just been so many receipts about Sharon Osbourne, receipts coming out of Prince Harry and Meghan. They have receipts, they say, to confirm all their allegations from that Oprah interview. And now we have receipts on Brandi Redmond's husband. I will show you the video in just a couple of minutes. Let me just open up some things here. We are live. I will post the link for you guys to call in and share your thoughts. Oh, wait, I see a familiar face. Hold on one second. Let me just get myself situated here. Look, when you're doing everything yourself, y'all, you're trying to get yourself situated. Let me see. Hold on one second. I'm going to add a friendly face to the bunch. Hey, Lonnie.
Hey, love. How are you?
I'm doing well. Hold on. There we go. I'm doing well. Have you been watching the latest season of The Real Housewives of Dallas?
I have. I still have the last one I need to watch, which is on my DVR.
Well,
I have watched, this season and everything, and I think it's going so far a pretty good season. There are some issues, that I'm just kind of like, okay, with the new cast member. She kind of turned me off with the whole chicken foot right from there. I said, no, I can't get down with that. But the whole allegation and everything being thrown out there, and it's all over the internet with Brandi and her husband. And I'm just kind of like, wow. And people in Dallas know who he is. It's not like people don't know who you are. They've seen you on television. So, I mean, if you're going to cheat, you need to be smart about it, knowing that you are technically a public figure. You may not be on the show, but your face has been on the show many a times. People know who you are. People know who your wife is. But I feel bad for her. And the fact that this may be their love child.
Oh,
I'm like, I want a DNA test. Like, can we call Maury?
Well, that's only if she didn't know. Let's just backtrack just a little bit. If you guys are just tuning in, we're doing a quick recap of the latest episode of The Real Housewives of Dallas, but we're also covering the story of Brandi Redmond's husband. There is video footage of him allegedly. People are saying it's from 2018, but they were married back in 2018. And Bruin, I believe, is probably like 2 years old at this point.
Yeah.
Look, but let me just quickly show the video so people know what we're talking about and the allegations that are out there. Shout out to everyone that's following me on TikTok. Head on over to the KEMPIRE Daily YouTube channel. Have the conversation there. Let me see what you guys are saying in the comments there, because I might miss your comments here. I want to hear what you guys think about this hot topic, because as Lonnie was just saying, there are people assuming now, okay, so is Bruin actually the love child? and not a child that was adopted? Okay, let me just show you the video first. Let me show you this video. Hold on. So there's no sound. I mean, it looks like him. I mean, he could deny it and say it's his doppelganger. I mean, do you do that with your friends?
Absolutely not. Not, and especially when you're a married man. I mean, that was like he grabbed her by the face, both hands. I mean,
Like he
that's
knows
a
her.
passionate, yes. Like that's a I want you grab. You know, that's not like a friendly smooch.
And can we talk about, this is not like it's in a hidden place, like in the corner of a club. It's in the middle of the club.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So it's definitely, I mean, obviously, because we know Andy is shady, he will bring this up at the reunion because that is messy Andy. So she's going to have to address it. I mean, it's going to be a big elephant in the room.
I'm just wondering if they I'm sure they have to. Sometimes these reunions shock me because I'm like, well, how come you guys are not talking about this? But they have to at this point. And apparently they're saying that Brandi Redmond won't be coming back to the Real Housewives of Dallas. Will you miss her, Lonnie?
I kind of will miss her because she's kind of like my kind of like good time girl, kind of like let's party, let's drink, let's get a little wild and stuff like that, just have fun. But it makes me wonder, are you not returning because of one, the allegation, the video that has come out with your husband, and also the rumors about this being an alleged love child? So are you running from that situation? Because obviously, if you stay on the show, more digging and more things are going to be revealed. So is that why you're taking a step back and leaving the show? But I mean, I think people will still dig even if you're not on the show.
In the TikTok chat, they said she's the Texas cheerleader everyone loved, but wondering why she isn't returning. Well, you know what? If you, Lonnie, once you watch this latest episode, it's so interesting the timing of this episode and this news coming out, because in this episode, she comes across as this holier than thou Christian. And it's like, Brandi, of all people. And then in the same breath, in this particular episode, she gets so blackout drunk, she falls out on a stage. She's getting humped by Dr. Moon. I'm just sort of like, hypocrisy, anyone?
Yeah, you can't be a holier than thou acting like, you know, you're from the gospel group Mary Mary waving around a dildo at parties. So that does not work, Brandi, if you're trying to be this devout Christian.
And she was really questioning in this latest episode. Brandi was really questioning Deandra's Christianity because they had that party with the shaman who also does hair extensions. And Deandra had to get her together. She was like, don't question my Christianity. I'm still very much Christian, but I also believe in some other things. And I have to say that whole party that they had, it really wasn't like a satanic thing. It was really just sort of like getting the vibrations going. To me, it was just sort of like, okay, I didn't see anything religious to be a part of it. I mean, I can see how some people might not be comfortable, but Brandi, of all people?
Yeah, of all people. And it's really not like seeing a shaman is not all, it's not about religion or anything like that. It's nothing different than when the Real Housewives of OC went to that retreat where they were getting their zen on and everything like that, and just releasing energy and whatnot. That's really what a shaman really does, is to release, you know, energy, any negativity and positivity that, or whatever it is that you're looking for, not so much religion. So I think Brandi's probably confused as to what a shaman actually does and what their purpose is.
Mm-hmm.
But
I felt, you know, in this, I mean, you'll see this when you watch the latest episode of The Real Housewives of Dallas. I felt they were a little disrespectful. Even if you find certain things to be a little quirky, at least when you're in it and you know, she's invited this man to be a part of it, just be respectful. There's no really need to laugh. I just felt like they were a little inappropriate because this is something very special to Deandra and she takes this very seriously.
yeah, and I mean, if they were acting like that, it's just like, hold yourself in a certain decorum, and it has nothing with just be an adult, be mature about it. You know, don't
Have you met them? They are not
I
adults.
can totally see Brandi like laughing at that, laughing and kind of just acting kind of inappropriate because I mean that's Brandi. That's what we know her for, for being that way and stuff like that. So I'm not completely, shocked, about her behavior or whatnot. So
The shocking part was her, because Deandra's mother was also attended this birthday party. First of all, the birthday party on the Real Housewives of Dallas for Tiffany Moon, Carrie put it together. It really wasn't very Moroccan when you looked at it at first, but like some of the little traditions that they brought in all together was kind of nice. I thought she did a really nice job, putting it together. They end up at the end of this episode, they're all just drunk and acting all kinds of crazy. But look, it makes for a good show. But Mama D, Deandra's mother, attended this party, and before I get to the drama that she caused there was Mama D told a story. She said that she pretty much hunted Deandra's stepfather down because she first started saying, "But I've always wanted to be rich. I always said I was going to be rich." And then she said when she found Deandra's stepfather, she hunted him down, made sure she was wherever he was, and then she closed the deal. Cameron then says, "Oh, why is she telling us this story? She's pretty much telling us that she's a gold digger." And I'm like, this is not, for Mama D does not mince words. So when she finds out that Cameron said this to her, Cameron's very much in the socialite world of Dallas, and so is Mama D. So that's not gonna be cute. Daisha in the chat says, Mama D keeps it real though. And I love her for it. To me,
she does. She's gangster. She's like old school gangster a little bit, Mama D.
We need more of Mama D. And I don't know if you know this, Lonnie, that apparently it was Mama D that called the executives at Bravo and said, y'all need to get down here and get Dr. Tiffany Moon on the show.
No, I didn't know that.
It was because of her. And you'll see in this episode, Dr. Moon refers to Mama D as another mother. So I thought I like their relationship, and I like the little sister bond that she has with Deandra. But Mama D brings it. And in this episode, at the end of this episode, I'm sorry I'm spoiling all of this for you, Lonnie, because you haven't watched it yet. At the end of this episode, I don't know how this question comes up, but they're drunk. So they're asking, if your father is, I forgot the father's name. What is Deandra's name? I can't even think of it right now.
What her father's name is?
Her stepfather. Hold on, no, I got it right here.
I think it was
Simmons.
Simmons, yeah.
So they're like, so why don't you, if that's your stepfather, why is your last name Simmons? And then Deandra's mother chimes in, well, basically she knew that the Simmons name would take her further along than her father, her biological father's name. Deandra blows up. I never said that. And Mama D is like, well, I'm just telling the truth. Yeah. And Deandra and her, get into it, and then she's like, I'm done. And Mama D walks out. She's like, take this mic off of me. I'm done.
Oh, I can't wait to watch, because I do. I think Mama D personally could be a cast member herself. I'm like, give her a cowboy hat so she can be up in that lineup and she can be a cast member, because she does bring it. She says what's on her mind, because she's at a particular age. Like, she says what she wants to say. She says how she feels, and she has no regrets. And that makes for great TV. And quite frankly, I think she could put everybody in line. And
she does, because yes. during the last episode, she was saying that the other ladies are spoiled and they're just jealous of Dr. Moon, and I didn't see any lies detected in that observation.
Yeah, and I know people have criticized her for being, tacky, for displaying constantly her closet and bragging about what she has and stuff like that. But that just may be her personality. She does that on her TikTok. She came up on my For You page, and it was just Hermes this and Hermes that and everything like that. So
their home is beautiful, though. I was watching this latest episode, and they do the outside shot. I'm like, gosh, Dr. Tiffany Moon is balling. Do we know what her husband does? I'm sure we know, and I just can't think of it right now.
He was he's either a businessman or a doctor himself.
I have to say, I like him, and I also like Cameron's husband, because I like their interaction, because he knows that she's ridiculous, and he just plays along with it. You know, they're selling their beautiful home. I love the fact that they showed us how much they're selling the beautiful home for.
Yes.
You know, I'm definitely, Cameron has grown on me. She's bringing a lot, because I do look. She came at Mama D in her confessional, so that already tells you she is ready to bring it.
Yes. So, I mean, they have beautiful homes, but I have to say my favorite home is Heather Dubrow's all time. I
See, I
love
don't
that
watch
house.
OC, so I have no idea. I'm gonna have to Google her home.
She has her home on, you can actually look at her home tour on YouTube.
Oh, excuse
I
me.
said, oh my gosh, I want that home. I want to live. I mean, she has a whole wall of Veuve Clicquot champagne in her
I just
dining
want to read this comment. Danielle says in my TikTok chat, she says, Mama D's an old school gold digger, and she recognizes these ladies for who they are.
Yes.
Danielle says Tiffany's husband is a doctor. Really? I didn't think he was a
He was
doctor.
probably a doctor or a businessman.
Wow.
But I like Tiffany. I think she brings like fresh air and, you know, to the show, you know, and I really like her. I think she was a great addition. I mean, and I guess Mama D knows best who would be a great addition. So she picked a good one for her as a cast member.
I hope that she will come back. It's not set in stone. I hope that she will come back. You know, her big concern this year and in this latest episode is making time for her children and not working as much. So she did have the discussion with her, you know, supervisor. She was very nervous about it. And I was like, Tiffany, calm down. But she was very nervous about it. But now she's able to take the time that she needs to be with her family. I don't know if she will continue to be on the show. I think she's a great housewife. I want to see more from her. However, I don't love how she's playing into this whole, oh, you know, I want to be a part of this crowd. But I also get it. She grew up not having girlfriends. She says it in this episode. You know, for someone to throw a party for her, she says she's never had a birthday party. Same girl. I can relate to Dr. Moon in a lot of ways.
I know. I throw everyone a birthday party, but I have yet to receive a birthday party myself.
Oh, Lonnie.
So I feel Tiffany on that. And I get like wanting to have like girlfriends and things like that. And, you know, so I totally feel her, you know, on that as far as like wanting to have like that bond and that, you know, sisterhood, you know, with, you know, the girls and wanting to really fit in and wanting them to understand her, wanting them to understand her culture and everything like that. But I like Tiffany. You know, a lot of people don't, but I'm just like, I'm all here for Tiffany.
Tiffany and Brandi have a moment during the shaman situation. And look, Brandi has been so like I didn't not like Brandi the previous seasons. I was like, oh, Brandi, I like her energy, blah 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 blah. I didn't love her this season though. Just between the whole, you know, information coming out about her making fun of Asian people, and then her trying to place her own guilt onto Dr. Moon. In this episode, she says, you know, all that stuff that I was saying to you before, it's really more about me. Yes, girl, we all know it's all about you. But now that we're seeing, if you guys are just joining us, hey, we are talking about, first of all, the latest episode of The Real Housewives of Dallas, but we're also talking about this story about Brandi Redmond. There's a lot of speculation. So I want to read something that I found on Tamara Tattles in regards to this story. So let me just quickly read a blind item that came from Tamara Tattles. Woo, let me look. Oh, here we go. I thought I lost it. So this was a blind item from back in, when was this? Hold on. This was back in February. I'm going to read the blind item to you guys. This is before we knew anything. You know, there have been allegations, Lonnie, about Bruin, their child, for a few months now. People have been talking that allegedly that her child was a love child. We don't know that. Allegedly. So this was the blind item that was posted back in February. This husband of a reality TV personality has often been rumored to be a cheater who had a steady side piece. To be honest, I don't find any of the people on this reality show to be interesting enough to pay attention. Sure, it was weird when the baby, who fit right in with the rest of the family, magically showed up as an adopted child. But like I said, I'm not that invested. Well, as it turns out, the reality show personality has just announced she's quitting the show. it seems that the streets have been talking, and the news is coming out that the baby that magically appeared was not adopted from an agency like we were told. Instead, it's the husband's love child with another woman. Now, that makes a lot of sense, and the babies just keep coming. You may recall, sidebar, that Brandi just gave birth. They go on and say in this blind item, I guess the reality TV mom thinks quitting will keep all this information under wraps, but if I'm hearing about it and I couldn't even be bothered to pay attention, the cat is out of the bag. How did you guys like my my blind item voice?
I mean, she's definitely got a lot on her plate, but if it were me though, and all this stuff is going to come out, and obviously it is hella embarrassing, you know what I mean? If she was smart, she'd come out in front of it, make a statement, come out in front of it.
But we both know Brandi, she's not the brightest bulb.
I know, and she's probably still in her closet crying, but if she would put her big girl panties on, she would step in front of this and control the narrative. Because obviously there are rumors, and we're hearing this, we see the video and things like that, but we don't know all of the details behind closed doors and when the shades are down, what the actual truth is. If she was smart, she'd get in front of it and narrate this story and this narrative and things like that, and come out in front of it. Who
do you think? Well, shout out to Bravo and Cocktails, because they are the ones who had this video of allegedly Brandi Redmond's husband caught in the club kissing on another woman. People are saying that this video is from 2018. Those that are in my TikTok, if you want to see the video, head on over to my YouTube, KEMPIRE Daily. I'm about to show it again, just because I like to analyze Lonnie. I want to say, where exactly is he? When we were first introduced to him, he was, traveling all the time. They looked like they didn't have the greatest of marriages, but the first season, once people start making opinions about your relationship, you start to see changes on how people present themselves on these reality shows. Have you noticed that with this couple?
Yeah, and you'd be surprised how men, when they're on business travel, how they are when the cat's away, like they say, when the cat's away. I mean, I travel a lot, and oh yes, you do see a lot of married men that approach you.
Wow.
Yeah, because I would be a lot of times traveling by myself. I'd be sitting at the bar, because I'm not going to sit at a table, so I sit at the bar and they will spark conversation, and it's just like you see them, not all, but there are some men out there that be trying to dip and do it while they're out on travel.
Wow.
Oh yes.
See, I've never been one to cheat. I just feel like
karma comes back around.
It's too much work to keep up with your lives. Plus, also, I don't want that karma.
Exactly. Me either. I'm like, karma comes around when you least expect it. And I'm not with STDs and stuff floating around nowadays. Oh no.
And Corona? Your wife is like, how the hell you get Corona? Well, I'm about to show again, for those that missed it. This allegedly is Brandi Redmond's husband in the club kissing on some woman. People are saying that this video stems back to 2018. However, weren't they like high school sweethearts? Based on what I've heard, I think they were high school sweethearts. I don't know, y'all. I know they've been together a very, very, very long time. Let's play this video. It's only like 15 seconds. There's no sound. I'm just going to describe to those on TikTok what I'm looking at. He's whispering in her ear. Now he has his hands on her head. Now he's kissing her on the mouth. And this lady has tattoos. Like, she's a tattoo lady. She looks very different than a Brandi Redmond. I don't know. And I said, this is so interesting that this video came out this week, and Brandi's episode this week really was about her being so Christian and talking about prayer, and also making Deandra feel really, really bad about her, how, the shaman and things like that. So I thought that was just so weird. So I was just describing, have you seen this woman? Like, she's like the complete opposite of Brandi Redmond, Lonnie.
Yeah, she is. Sorry, I had to get my food, honey.
No, look, it is what it is. I need to get me some food. Shoot. I've been like working nonstop today, but
she is the complete opposite. It's like night and day.
for those that are just joining us, I'm gonna play the video again while we're talking in the back. I mean, but you see that there's everyone around. Everyone around. Obviously, the person who took this video is a Housewives fan, and it's like, isn't that Brandi's husband?
And also I'm kind of wondering because he looked in that direction too. So I'm like, I wonder if he was wondering like if the phone was on him, and knowing that people know who you are, you should have ducked right then and there when you saw a phone up.
But maybe he was drunkety drunk and didn't even realize.
And she may just do that. She may just, do the little Jamie Foxx thing and blame it on the alcohol and say, well, he was just drunk. He didn't know what he was doing. I can see that narrative coming out.
For those that are on my TikTok, my YouTube channel is KEMPIRE Daily, like my name, KEMPIRE Daily. And we're also live on the YouTube channels, TheKempire, like my name here, on Facebook, and on the KEMPIRE Radio Network on Facebook. Lonnie, so I don't look this. Like I said, in this latest episode, it's just very interesting timing that Brandi was so religious in this episode and making people feel bad about the shaman, and then this news comes out about her husband. I'm going to add Danielle to the conversation. Danielle, what's going on?
Hey,
how are you?
Good.
Hi, Danielle.
Hi, Lonnie.
I love you guys. You guys are amazing. Danielle, what are your thoughts on, first of all, the latest episode of The Real Housewives of Dallas, and about this new story about Brandi Redmond's husband and the baby situation?
Okay, so I can only talk about part of the Housewives episode because I fell asleep. Forgive me.
Because it's that boring?
No, because it was late at night. I had my second vaccination yesterday, and I'm just,
oh wow,
yeah. So I'm in that second
going through it.
Going through it, yes. But I'm going to catch up. Plus, I did Basketball Wives as well yesterday. But piggybacking on what I was putting in the comments with like Mama D calling, like, I guess telling her truth. Mm-hmm. She literally was letting those ladies know, I've been what you guys have already done. Like, they've achieved it. If you think about these ladies, I think the only one that ever talks about them going to college is what's the one with the crazy husband that's really cool with Brandi?
Oh, Stephanie.
Stephanie.
Mm-hmm.
So Stephanie and Tiffany, and not knocking people who don't go to college, but Stephanie and Tiffany are the only two that ever talks about a college education. Well, kind of Cameron does too. But I just feel like they all set out to find rich men so they can be stay-at-home moms taken care of. And I feel
like Deandra went to college. Remember, she had like a big government job, and she came back home in order to help run her mom's business. At least that's what the story was.
You're right. But I say all that to say, I think Mama D calling out her truth was to tell the girls, hey, ladies, I know what you guys are doing. I did the same thing, and hey, I recognize, like,
I love it.
Game.
I love that Mama D owns her stuff, but I think Mama D is going to get Cameron for what she said in that confessional.
Oh, you know that she is, because if you think about it, every time Cameron moves, she's always moving with, well, the Dallas socialite this and Dallas socialite that, and Mama D married into that Simmons family who's high at the totem pole of Dallas socialite. So the fact that Cameron said something about Mama D, Mama D is going to dig into it, and Cameron's going to have to eat a piece of humble pie because of that whole Dallas socialite lifestyle and those elite that she tries to be a part of.
And mind you, the other women that are in that lifestyle were, by, for lack of a better word, would probably be considered quote unquote gold diggers. She called Mama D a gold digger.
But Cameron's a gold digger.
I thought the same. I was like, aren't you a gold digger?
What does Cameron do besides go shopping? And I follow Cameron on TikTok, and I think maybe Instagram. And all she does is post new outfits, post Hermes. But like, what do you do, Cameron? You try to come up with some pink dog food. Like, who is pink dog food? No, so Cameron's Mama D's gonna come for Cameron when she see that.
I can't wait. Shay Doc says, anyone else remember the nasty rumor about their adopted son being her husband's love child? Well, yes. Shay Doc, you must have missed what we were talking about at the beginning, but let's talk about it again. Danielle, what are your thoughts on this rumor? I'm going to keep saying it's a rumor.
I'm here for the air quotations rumor. I believe it. But I always felt like her husband was funny acting, because I don't know if it was the cameras, but he just seemed shady on camera.
He started acting like the first season. you could see there was trouble in their marriage, but a lot of people had criticisms of their relationship and of him specifically on how he treated Brandi. And ever since that first season, they don't show the relationship a lot on the show, but when you do, it's supposedly very loving. And now this story is out, and she sort of addressed it in a cryptic way on her Instagram. But look, I'm not believing any of that.
Do you remember in previous seasons how she always spoke about how he traveled so much with his job?
Yes.
That was me side eye, and I'm gonna give you my reality. I've been that side woman before.
Oh, come on, girl Danielle, with the information. All right, share your story.
I'm just saying. And that's what guys do. They go out of town. They take you with them. It's always a business trip. So let me go take my little dime piece on my arm candy on my business trip and leave the wife and kids at home because I don't feel like being bothered with them. I want some relief, or I just want to be, they just want a break. But that always, because he had so many air quotation work trips, I was already side-eyeing him.
Do you think, because everyone's speculating about, and I hate to speculate on Bruin and that whole situation as a wife, do you think, why would the mistress give away this child?
So here's me being shady and judgmental, which I try.
That's okay. You're welcome to the shady.
We are all here for it.
So if we look at Tattoo, let's just call her Teddy. If we look at Miss Tattoo Teddy in that video, I'm sure for a quick $25,000, she probably gave that child away.
And then there was also, remember during the season, Brandi said that Bruin's birth mother was pregnant again, and they were considering adopting that child.
Yes. So I wonder, I always thought that was a lie that Brandi came up with to try to throw us off.
Where's Maury Provence when you need him?
Yes.
Well, the other thing in regards to this Brandi story, a lot of people, first of all, those are on TikTok, head on over to the KEMPIRE Daily YouTube channel so you can join the conversation. You can call in and share your thoughts on this Brandi Redmond story. And as I said to you before, I hate speculating on this child, but the other part of it, it's just sort of weird to me that as the married wife, but I guess if you're trying to keep your marriage together, you will do anything, especially because she's been with him such a long time.
So I think to your point, because I remember you saying earlier, you thought that they were high school sweethearts. I remember that story too, because that's what she said. They were high school sweethearts.
Okay.
Her husband and Steph's husband went to college together, and that's why they are all connected. So, I remember that story. So I'm on the same page with you as that one. But
I thought I was going crazy, but okay.
No, you weren't. But think about women. I guess if you think about the dating world, and sometimes women are willing to put up with stuff just to keep their, I'm not going to say happy home, but to keep their stability. Because could you imagine her being single with 2 kids already and then having to get back out in the dating world? She probably would dread that. And I believe she would do anything so she wouldn't have to get back out in the dating world and then have to find someone to take care of her at that.
And some people would, look, even without kids, stay in relationships just because it's the most comfortable thing to do.
It's stability. That's
right.
And if she's so religious, I mean,
now, I don't know about this whole religion thing because they pissed me off. So she was like, I have a Christian upbringing. Okay, so I'm the Catholic school girl, and I go to Bible study every Monday and Wednesday night. I go to church online every Sunday, but I would never sit up there and knock someone for a shaman or anything they were interested in, especially if they were trying to share it with me. If anything, I'm going to educate myself and not judge you. So that whole Christian thing, I just feel like it was a piece of crap. I felt like she was judgy. I didn't like that. And Deandra's supposed to be your friend. She was sharing with you her experience that she's been going through with this shaman. And sometimes you have to eat the meat and leave the bones and walk away and not be judgy about it.
You better leave those sweet bones behind. Lonnie, what are your thoughts on this whole baby story?
I always feel, because I'm someone that has been cheated on. And I feel like I think she obviously knew he was doing his own thing and she would just be the happy wife at home taking care of the kids and whatnot, because right off the bat, I mean, you could see season 1, as we talked about, she was miserable. Like she was sad,
Mhm.
she was crying. I
Yep.
mean, it was just like she was literally living a miserable life. And she knew, because she knew that he was out doing his thing, taking
Yep.
late night calls downstairs in the basement or whatever.
Yes, downstairs in the basement.
Yes, like she knows, and like it's just like she does not, like you said, she doesn't want to leave. And the fact is, when they did adopt, it was a shock to everyone because she didn't mention it to anybody. It was like this baby came out of the air.
Well,
She
remember,
was
the baby came from Stephanie. Stephanie supposedly heard about the situation, and someone on my
allegedly.
TikTok had said, "Oh, I know the social worker that connected everyone." And yeah, I'm sure a social worker probably was involved because it technically isn't their baby, so a social worker probably was involved. But apparently, in regards to this, remember, Stephanie was the one that connected them allegedly. But I could also see Stephanie looking out for her friend.
Yes,
She looked out for her many other times.
Yeah, because remember, Stephanie was the only one that knew. So I feel like Stephanie, because that's her best friend, probably knew the real story and was going to use whatever she needed to do to help cover her friend's story.
Yeah, because I mean, that's probably the main person she confides in.
Yes. Now, do you all think she got pregnant, Brandi, that is, got pregnant with this third baby to try to keep him at home?
And she said, no, baby, keep no man at home.
I mean, we know that, but look, women try it all the time.
Yeah.
During some of the other seasons, we saw Brandi struggling with just her two girls. So it was talking about the adoption, and now she's added another child.
But last season, remember when the husband and the baby boy went out to eat, and that little baby boy was throwing food all over the restaurant. She was struggling with him alone when they were talking about adopting the second child.
Mm-hmm.
And he told her, he was like, my mom had us taking care of each other. I don't want my kids like that. She was like, oh, she was all sulking and everything. I think she got pregnant again to try to keep him at home, not knowing, but we know that that doesn't work.
Well, you know what? Look, I like I said multiple times. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. Well, maybe. You know how people say that? Then I thought about it. I was like, no, I might. However, I like Brandi. I wouldn't wish this on her, especially because I think she's a prize in comparison to her husband. But at the same time, she's also not the brightest bulb. So I can also see her thinking that, let me stay in this relationship. And now after this last episode on the Real Housewives of Dallas, her really defending her beliefs with prayer. And look, she's defending her beliefs and her Christianity in the same breath while rolling around, getting drunk and getting humped by Dr. Moon.
So let me ask you something about Brandi and you liking her. Because let me just say this. I've always loved Brandi. I've always loved her sense of humor. However,
you said love. I said like.
I'm saying love.
I'm gonna make it clear.
Okay. Yes, put me in order. I got it. I'm okay. I love her sense of humor. Back when she was teasing Cameron with the big brown dildo, like I thought all that was hilarious, and I thought Cameron was way too stuffy and like, girl, just let your ponytail down and have a good time.
Yes.
But when it comes to Brandi and her video that came up about the Asian people. Honestly, and I recognize I'm a little older and I have tough skin. I didn't think that it was that bad. Okay. Not saying that she shouldn't have done it. Like, I personally wouldn't have put it on social media.
Yeah.
But let's be realistic. How many of us have gone to the nail salon, an Asian establishment, and got frustrated because they were speaking in their native language? We felt like they were talking about us, and we came back home and told our girlfriends, they were in there, just saying whatever. Like, I feel like what she did, she does have kind of slanted eyes. I don't think that what she said about her eyes was that bad for people to try to cancel her.
Well, look, the difference between you, myself, and Brandi, she's a public figure.
Facts.
And she put this out there. But her the way she's been handling it this season says to me there is a bigger issue with Brandi when it comes to her and other races and her ignorance and her really trying to put her issue onto Dr. Moon showed me a bigger issue. And that's something that we're seeing with Sharon Osbourne. So it says to me, where there's a little smoke, there might be some fire in regards to branding and other behavior that we're not fully aware of.
Because I love Dr. Moon. I think she's amazing. I think she's a great asset to the show. I put in the chat when I was over on TikTok how active she is on her social media. She responds.
Yes.
I love
I've been in
her.
communication with Dr. Moon. We've
Yes,
talked.
I haven't talked to her, but she's responded to a few of my comments, and I think that's awesome. I would love to see more of her, and I love her and her little girl. So I hope she stays. I hope they keep her. I don't want Brandi to leave because I enjoy Brandi's sense of humor. Even when Leanne was on the show and how Brandi was stand up to Leanne, I think that Brandi's been the only one out of these ladies to have a real backbone when it comes to standing up. And I think we need that.
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. And that's why I love when you guys call in. If you want to share your thoughts before we end this conversation, please feel free. I posted the link in the comments. I'll post it again. Those are on my TikTok. Head on over to the KEMPIRE Daily YouTube channel if you want to join the conversation and share your thoughts there. You can also watch this live on the KEMPIRE Radio Network Facebook fan page and also on my personal TheKempire Facebook fan page. We're here with Danielle and Lonnie. Lonnie, what are your thoughts on what Danielle's been saying? How did you feel about Brandi over the last few seasons? Are you sad to see her go?
I am, because I think that, she was always the fun one. Mm-hmm. She was always like, let's get this party started. And that's kind of how my personality is too. But I do think like this season, I mean, she's not herself. And she did mention like around Tiffany, she's not herself because of the whole Asian comment. And Tiffany was just kind of like, girl, we done moved past that. Like, why are you still harboring on that?
Sidebar, I in this episode, and you'll see this, Lonnie, when you watch it, she says to Dr. Moon that she loves her. And I'm like, you just met this girl. You don't love her.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm always uncomfortable with that. But, a lot of people throw around, I love you words. But anyways, continue.
And I just feel like I'm not the biggest fan of her this season. Previous seasons, I really liked her. She was a lot of fun to the show. It made you laugh. But this season is just, and it makes me wonder, like, she's probably dealing with a lot of stuff at home, which is why maybe she's not so fun this season as she was in previous seasons, and whatnot. So,
and some undercover drama.
Yeah, exactly. So she was probably dealing with all of this secretly, but.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Lonnie. Do you think maybe, she seeked help? She blamed social media for, the backlash in regards to the video that she posted. Do you think maybe it had more to do with her relationship issues?
Oh, yes. Definitely.
Do you think do you guys think that she should take the season off and maybe come back?
I mean, she could always do that. We've seen other housewives do that. Yeah.
And I
can definitely see Brandi leaving and coming back. Maybe 2 or 3 seasons though.
Yeah. And I think Bravo.
By then we might forget about her though.
But then it's kind of just like it would be, with her gone, it's just like, who are you going to get to kind of fill that? Because that's why I watch her. She is hilarious. I have to give Brandi that.
Yes,
she is hilarious, and she does off the wall stuff. Like, I mean, what other housewife runs around and does like crazy stuff like that with, the dildos and things.
That's
like
why I'm excited about Dr. Moon. I feel Dr. Moon gives us so many layers. Not only is she fun, she's also very, she's very smart and she's funny. I feel like she's like the all-around best housewife. That's why I'm sad to hear that she might not come back.
But Dr. Moon is not fun like Brandi. Like the fact that she's like, well, the whole, she had the issue with the jumping in the pool and jumping in the lake, and that bothered her. But Brandi when I think of Brandi, remember season 1, she introduced herself. She said she used to be a Dallas Cowgirl. So when I think of Brandi and her antics, it reminds me of being in college. It reminds me of fun times from college and just being that young water. And I enjoy watching that side of her. I'm like, oh, I remember being silly like that. And just having that fun time with your girlfriends, because as moms and wives, when you get with Brandi, she makes you forget all those responsibilities and just have fun. And that's why I like seeing her on the show.
And that's why it was also surprising in this latest episode of The Real Housewives of Dallas when she was really like playing this whole godly Christian thing. I was like, what's going on, Brandi? Like, this is like left field. And then, of course, with all this drama with her husband coming out, I want to read this comment from Shaydoc. 2 to 6% of the U.S. population are gingers. That's pretty big. That's a pretty big coincidence that 2 gingers adopted a baby ginger. Just saying.
Oh,
I
wow.
mean,
Come through with the facts. I like that.
I like numbers.
Yeah.
I really do. In my TikTok chat room, Lotsky says the whole situation is just sad all the way around. I agree. It's a sad situation. But look, my job is to talk about it. So I said, let me go live and talk about it. For those that missed the video, I want to show the video one more time for those that missed the video of
Tattoo Teddy.
Of Tattoo Teddy. This allegedly is Brandi Redmond's husband in a club. People are saying this is from 2018, but you may recall they've been together since pretty much high school.
But you know, it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me that she's the complete opposite of Brandi.
Why is that?
Okay, so a little more about me. I know guys
who.
You're so silly. Mm-hmm. I know guys who actually, step out on their wives, and it's always the complete opposite of what they have at home. I don't know what that's about. I've asked. Because like the guys that I'm thinking, but like I know them well enough to ask, like, well, why is it? And it's like I just want something different. So that's why I'm not surprised that we have Tattoo Teddy here, this long brunette, not a ginger. And I think redheads are so cute.
Oh, I love a ginger. Is it problematic to call them gingers nowadays? I don't know.
Are we going to get in trouble for this? Like, I don't know.
I mean, look, we're open to stop using it, but I do love a ginger too.
If there are any gingers in your comments, please let us know. Are we being PC? Because I would like to learn something or educate me, because I really don't know. I don't know if that's a bad thing, but I just think they're adorable, especially when they have freckles, and I just think they're.
And that's why I love Brandi's family, because I was like, look at this house of gingers.
Yes, and we don't have that on any other franchise.
Nope.
I mean, look, if you guys are just joining us, we're talking about the latest episode of The Real Housewives of Dallas and this Brandi Redmond story. Allegations, we have video footage of her husband allegedly in the club kissing on another woman. And now it sparked other rumors around the adoption of their son, Bruin. Look, I don't know what is fact or fiction. I never know nowadays. But I mean, where there's smoke, apparently there's some fire, y'all. Any last minute thoughts? Okay, Lonnie, last minute thoughts in regards to this entire situation.
It'd be interesting. I mean, he was with this one woman. I'd be curious to see if other people come out with video with him with other people, or text messages, or things like that. Because if you're that messy, I'm sure there's other messiness around, or trails that you accidentally left behind. I mean, look at Ashley Darby. You just never know what videos and pictures and things like that.
I can't wait for the new season of Potomac,
because people are always looking for a quick paycheck from TMZ for some photos. So I wouldn't be surprised if more comes out. But like I said, I don't think she doesn't have that strong enough backbone or the brains to really come out in front of this.
Yes.
And really kind of narrate this the way that would be beneficial for her and her family.
Yeah.
But maybe, who knows, she could be happy that this came out. Who knows? Maybe she's just like, I'm done with this and I'll just live off my Bravo money and make it work. Who knows?
That Bravo check ain't that long, especially for Dallas.
It's not that long. It's not like Nene or Bethany long, but hey, there's women out here that make it far, than less. So,
but she got 4 babies. Lowski in the TikTok chat room says, "Imagine how strong of a woman it takes to raise your husband's child with his mistress." You just spoke some words right there.
Mm-hmm.
Danielle, what are your? Done it. Go ahead, Lonnie.
Women have definitely, done it, to raising their, husband's, mistress child. So it will be very interesting to see how this plays out, because I really do feel like more is going to come out of this. So it will be very, interesting. But I think it'd be even more interesting if she did stay on, because people would really be tuning into Dallas to find out what is going on with Brandi and her husband in this situation.
if she was going to leave the husband, I think because she's not going to leave him, she doesn't want that backlash. You already seen her response to the backlash after that video leaked of her making fun of the Asian woman. So she probably doesn't even want to deal with the backlash because she's not going to leave him.
Yeah, and he may not leave her, her. I mean, I don't know what she would do if he's just like, what, this came out, we're not happy. We haven't been happy for years. I'm just going to leave. So who knows how this will play out? Maybe he'll go with, as Danielle said, Teddy.
Tattoo Teddy. Danielle, what are your last minute thoughts on everything?
I want to throw a monkey wrench out real quick,
though. Oh, Danielle, what?
So this is just my opinion. You guys tell me if you agree or not. I feel like sometimes these husbands agree to allow their wives be on these housewife shows, pulling a Kelsey Grammer. Remember how Kelsey allowed her to come on because he knew he was leaving her? Camille, thank you. I'm wondering if Brandi's husband initially started, in their first season because they were going through a patchy time. I wonder if he went in with the expectation of leaving her, and that's why he still had his side piece.
Whoa.
That's interesting.
Wow. I mean, I just don't think they're that smart. Even him, I don't think they're that calculated. But I could be wrong. He probably could be smart.
But think about how many husbands have done that. Look at Portia and Cordell, because I believe Cordell allowed Portia on the show knowing that he was going to leave. Okay, we have Camille and Kelsey. I just think that has happened so many times. Even if you go back to OC, the chick Gina was dating she was married to the baseball guy Matt, and he was ready for a divorce, and that played out on their show. And so many of these wives have lost their husband on these shows. I wonder if he feels like his happiness, or it was greener on the other side with Tattoo Teddy or whoever it is, and that's why he allowed her on this show. But I think Lonnie brought up a good point that I didn't even think about. Brandi is not strong enough or smart enough to know how to navigate her own storyline and get in front of it and let this play out the way she wants it to play out. I can totally see her on the reunion getting up and walking off stage crying because it's too much. I
literally just have a flash of it because everyone's wondering, do you think that they will talk about this at the reunion? They have to talk about this at the reunion.
Andy's going to ask. Andy is going to ask.
His shady self.
He's definitely going to ask for sure. I mean, that's like saying, Andy's not going to ask about the Portia or Candace fight. Like, you have to ask.
You have to. And I think, as we know in true Brandi character, she's going to get up crying and walk off, unfortunately.
Audrey says in the chat, I agree with Danielle. Her husband set her up.
Yeah.
Damn.
And I too agree with Danielle too, because as Danielle said, you see it with even with the people that you mentioned, Danielle, and even so many other people who are who were married and use this show as a divorce. And I really see it with the new person on Real Housewives of Atlanta.
LaToya or Drew?
Drew.
You think so?
I think so. I think one day she may come home and her suitcase outside.
Oh, damn. I mean, I wouldn't put it past Ralph. I would not put it past Ralph.
He seems like that person.
You got cameras everywhere, so you know when people are coming in and out.
But Ralph doesn't seem like he has anything without Drew. What does he do?
Oh, well,
I'm curious to know too, besides his
place. They say he's in tech. I know they're doing an app together. They're very intertwined when it comes to their business. I'm not really exactly sure. He says he might label himself an entrepreneur.
Broke.
Look,
broke.
I don't know.
Just think, the game is still showing on Netflix, so Drew's getting a few residual dollars from Netflix on the game. So she has more. I think she has more money.
How much are those residual dollars, though?
I mean, it could be $2.50. We heard. I don't know. But I just feel like it's more than what Ralph has coming in, which is why Ralph is trying to be so controlling over her.
But that's another relationship. But they caught on quick because the first season for Brandi Redmond on Dallas, it was a bad season. With their bad situation on Atlanta, Drew and Ralph, they learned quick to switch it up and try and show their relationship in another light.
I think they were trained. I think someone pulled them aside and told them to do that. Honestly, because I think Atlanta has mastered how to make this work for them. We all know Kenya has child, but I think I think Atlanta has mastered how to get in front of things, how to create your own storyline, how to make this work. So yeah, I think someone might have pulled her aside, whether it's Cynthia or even Candy. I think someone probably pulled her aside, like, you don't want to do too much, you don't want to do that. Yeah, I think they gave her a heads up.
Before we go, I just want to let everyone know I posted earlier today a new video as a big recap of Basketball Wives. Then I was part of a larger discussion on colorism on another YouTube channel. But if you've missed out on my recap of Basketball Wives, head on over to the KEMPIRE Daily YouTube channel and check that out. Did both of you watch Basketball Wives last night? And if you
Yes,
did, what
can
were
we
your
talk
thoughts?
about that?
Yes, Lord.
Can we go another 57 minutes and talk about that, please?
Oh, 57 minutes. How about another 10 minutes and we can talk a little bit about Basketball Wives?
Give me 15, you got a deal.
Danielle, what are your thoughts on Basketball
I am
Wives?
so disgusted with OG from day one.
Wow.
And I say that for so many reasons. I agree with Kristen a few episodes ago when OG asked her about, you see a dark-skinned girl and a light-skinned girl having an argument and you instantly go with the light-skinned girl. That's colorism. Kristen was like, no, how about it was just that I didn't like you and I liked her. So whether she was right or wrong, I'm going to go with the person I like. And
there are a lot of people saying, though, that producers are editing OG in a way to make us all go against OG. What do you say to people that are very critical of that?
I disagree, because if I have had plenty of Twitter battles where people are yelling at me and literally death of me and my child based on me not agreeing with OG. I listened to that 50-minute sound bite that she had on her IG page. And again, it sounded like a person who was not open to listening and a person who has her mind set and doesn't want to change her mind, which she showed us last night when talking to Jackie. And not to take away how she feels, not to take away her experience, and not to take anything away from, but sometimes you have to let your guard down and be open to other people's perceptions. And she wants them to do that for her, but she's not willing to do that. And that's a problem.
And the thing, I heard this from someone else on another YouTube channel when we were talking about this topic. I think what would have been smart for the producers to do is get a third party that can mediate this sort of kind of conversation, because then I think they could have resolved this season. They could have probably, the litigation going on between Evelyn and OG probably could have been like, you know what, we made peace, let's just throw it out. I think a third party, they really should have brought a professional in to have a conversation between both parties. Because although everything that we've seen, because OG, you can have your feelings, but I can have my feelings too.
Yes.
Based on what I've seen, I don't see, like I said in the video that I posted on this hot topic, I'm looking at every corner for the colorism that you're talking about, and I'm not finding it. I want to be on your side, but you ain't giving me enough.
No. And I've been watching some of the old seasons, just kind of like as background noise while we're working. There have been so many brown-skinned women that have come through Basketball Wives Miami, Basketball Wives LA, throughout all these seasons that Shawnee has put on this show. We have never heard anyone complain about colorism until now. You have this one, it's almost like this one rotten apple is spoiling the whole bunch.
And look, I'm not going to be sitting here and act like there isn't bullyism going on in this group, favoritism. I mean, that's definitely happening, and very problematic behavior when it comes to how Shawnee, it's sort of like the mean girls situation
Shawnee
going on.
owned up on her favoritism. Shawnee actually said, I don't look at some of the things that Evelyn does because that's my friend. She owned it. She admitted to, and she's taking complete ownership of it.
And look, Evelyn has been the aggressive, violent. Like, I haven't really liked Evelyn's behavior on Basketball Wives. Neither have I liked Tammy's behavior
or Jackie's. I think there's been so much behavior, and I get it. Okay, so OG's like, but all I said was I would kill somebody. I never touched somebody. I never threw a chair. I never threw a chair. Okay, so you might not have taken the action, but none of those ladies ever said they were going to kill anybody either.
One thing I didn't like that they did, and I'm going to blame the producers and not the ladies, because at the end of the day, the producers are the ones controlling the show. At the reunion last year, separating her on a whole other stage, I thought that was ridiculous.
But they've done that before. If you go to season 3 LA.
Oh, whoa. Okay, Danielle, come out with your receipts. Go ahead.
I'm coming through with the receipts. They had Drea, light skin, on a separate studio and had all the brown skinned women together. So we've seen it before. It was just the opposite. So that's why I'm like, cut the crap, OG.
Oh.
Say it again.
Lonnie, what are your thoughts? Have you been watching the latest season of Basketball?
I did, and I watched the latest one this morning, and I don't want to take away from OG's feelings because I know she's dealt with some things in her past where colorism was an issue and her being criticized because of her skin color. But I think at the same time, she really needs to have an understanding of what colorism is. Colorism is not someone busting on you for what you're wearing. So colorism is not someone making fun of you because you have a camel toe in a picture or, things like that. And, I really do agree with you when you had mentioned that Shawnee should have went over to talk to her as someone on the show and as an executive producer to talk to OG. But then again, I'm also wondering in the back of her mind, because she's hearing, Kristen going over, Malaysia going over, and Jackie, talking to her and how, OG is just not opening up and doesn't want to hear anybody's side. Everybody just needs to understand OG's side. She's probably like wondering, is it even worth it, or is she even going to listen? But I still think that she should have at least tried. But, I think that what Jackie had mentioned, she's like, is it other things outside of just colorism? Because it can't be just colorism. Like, it definitely has to be something else that you are upset about, insecure about it, as a whole in this group. And yes, they've argued. Yes, they've been rowdy. Yes, they have, fought and thrown tables and things like that. And OG, you have been in the same situation where you were like that as well, where you were like, I'll throw hands on you, I'll kill you, or this and that. And, you have been aggressive in some situations. And that word aggressive has not been the first time used on this show to you. So
or to the other ladies.
Exactly. Like, this is not some word that just magically started coming up on the show when you came on board, OG. So I really think that she does need to have a better understanding of what colorism is, because I don't see
based on what we've seen and the way that she's defined it, on what they've showed us how she's defined it, I'm like, that's not colorism.
No, and I'm like, do you need a Webster dictionary? Like, I mean, because what you
not Webster. Remember Webster dictionary?
That's not colorism. Like, people like, making judgments and this.
Don't forget,
go ahead, Danielle.
No, I'm trying to piggyback on what you're saying. Don't forget, then it's the featureism. So I get that there are layers to colorism, but then she wants to bring in the featureism. Well, here's my 2 cents on that. You can't preach featureism to me when you're sit up here and you're contouring your natural features to look European.
Oh.
So until your makeup matches your neck, until the makeup on your face matches your neck color, which is your natural color, and your contoured nose and your contoured cheekbones, you can't sit up there and speak featureism to me. I don't want to hear it, because you're not even comfortable in your true self.
Oh, I want to preface this by saying there have been multiple. Everyone has a different opinion on this whole Basketball Wives situation. If you guys are just tuning in, we're talking about the Real Housewives of Dallas, but we've segued a little bit into Basketball Wives. I did post a video with my recap on Basketball Wives, so be sure to check that out because I share all kinds of thoughts in that video. But I want to say this, one of the comments that I've seen when I was on a panel earlier today in regards to Basketball Wives, and also what I've seen on my TikTok, is people saying that as a light-skinned man, they find the things that I'm saying on this topic as gaslighting, and that I shouldn't be talking about colorism. And I find that part, when you shut off someone from having a conversation as opposed to trying to make your point clear, that's where you lose everyone. We can't say, oh, you can't talk about it.
So here's the problem with that. And I said this to a few of my girlfriends recently. So I want to do I'm about to get on my soapbox with this. Okay. I am sick as a light-skinned woman, people telling me I can't speak up about colorism, or I don't understand colorism because of my complexion. First of all, yes, I am high yellow with naturally blonde hair, and I have somewhat European features. But I come from 2 brown-skinned parents that I look like, and my mother used to be so upset that people thought that she was my nanny when I was a baby because she's brown-skinned and I'm light-skinned, and my dad is a darkened complexion. I'm not adopted, but I've learned, and I've talked to my other light-skinned girlfriends, we have learned, I guess society has taught us that we're not allowed to speak up when a brown-skinned person expresses their feelings or their experience about featureism, because we're supposed to be so pampered, and we've been able to live this exuberant lifestyle, of yada yada yada, because we're light skinned. The crazy thing that people don't realize is that light skinned people experience colorism too in our own community, but no one, we're not allowed to speak on that. And I'm sick of being quiet about it, because it actually happens. I've been called white girl. I've been called white girl since I was a kid, and here I am, almost 43 years old, and still being called white girl Danny. It's just, it is. And as an adult, I have adult friends that still call me, oh, white girl, because of how I talk, because I went to Catholic school. I'm white girl Danny from Southeast DC. And yes, I went to school on Capitol Hill with the other white kids, but so what? I'm still Black with 2 chocolate parents at home. And I still experience from the white girls that I went to school with, Kara, Sarah, and Colleen, who didn't want me hang with them because I was Black. And then I couldn't hang with the brown skinned girls in my class because I was too light. So I'm sick of people in our own community saying that light skinned people can't speak on an experience that they feel like we haven't had.
And we can't. And the thing is, too, with that being said, we can't forget how this all started. It starts with racism. It starts with white people separating us in that way, where the lighter skinned people would be working in the home as opposed to the fields. We can't forget that element and where it stems from. And we're allowing this to continue to separate all of us.
Yes.
Like the comments I've seen, like when I was on the panel earlier, like the comments, people were telling me to get off the panel. I was like, just because I'm sharing my thoughts on the situation, I'm like, I want to understand where OG is coming from, but it's like the way, based on how OG has described it, and even her receipts on IG, has not convinced me. Go ahead, Lonnie.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I 150,000% can understand like Danielle's frustration, because people look and be like, oh, well, you're licensed. Like, my dad's biracial and my mom's Irish, Jewish, and Filipino. So I mean, I'm like the United Nations up in here.
Wow.
So it's but it's just like, I've had family members go off on me in a tangent. My dad's side of the family, that, like my grandmother is African American and whatnot. And when the whole Black Lives Matter movement, and expressing, like, we're all like having like a conversation and stuff, and oh, well, you would never know what that's like you can't comment on that, or you wouldn't understand that struggle, so how could you make a comment or have an opinion on that, because you grew up in a rich neighborhood, or you don't look like you're Black, like you would never get stopped in this and that. So basically you want me just to sit here and shut up, and I can't have an opinion, I can't express my feelings and hurt of what is going on in our country or anything like that right now. So people, like if I was on Basketball Wives, OG would probably have like a conniption fit if I had an opinion on colorism.
Would.
She would have a complete fit. So I mean, it's just sad that there is colorism even within our own communities, and then on that, it's like, if you're too light, well, you can't comment because you're not dark enough, or this and that. And it's kind of BS, because I think everyone has a valid opinion. I think everyone has a voice of reasoning that can help someone understand something. And I really do feel that, in between 2020, 2021, I mean, and, I really do feel that a lot of race relations is now being to the forefront, and a lot of people are starting to talk about it. And Don Lemon said something that was really,
what did Don say? What Don Lemon have to say?
I'm nervous.
No, he was on The View, and he said 2016, Donald Trump being, and let me finish before, don't jump.
Oh, I know. I remember what he said.
He said in 2016, Donald Trump was the best thing that could have happened to America, because he, a lot of people think that racism has died down. We're evolving and this and that as a country as a whole. And he said, we are actually not. Donald Trump basically came in and took that rug up off of the floor, and you saw all of the dust and crumblings underneath of it. It is still there. And the fact that we are talking about it and things like this, with colorism and race. And I think it does allow people to have those uncomfortable conversations, because we never had those conversations before. I think 4, 5, 6 years ago, no one had conversations like this before about race or colorism or anything like that. Now we are having those conversations and taking those band-aids off. And hopefully with those conversations, and even like, for example, you being on panels and things like that, people are understanding someone else's point of view and the way that you see things and your experiences and things like that. Because I think in situations like OG, where it can only be one person's view, we will never evolve past it if we're constantly being hit with just one view only.
Can I ask you
my
guys
thing is
something?
too, I don't want us to shut off the conversation. No matter what, lighter skin, darker skin, I don't want the unity amongst Black people to become divisive, especially during this time when people are saying Black Lives Matter. And it's important for us to remember all Black lives, because when either of us walk into a room or into a white room, whatever you want to call it, they're not seeing light skin. They're seeing a Black person. And if they're racist, they're going to
Yes,
treat you just as such, no matter
absolutely.
your hue.
Absolutely. Now, can I throw another monkey wrench and ask you guys
Oh,
a
here
question?
you go.
No, this is a serious question, and
Yeah.
I've asked this of a lot of people. Do you all think that colorism or the experience of colorism happens more so with women than with men?
Honestly, the fact that every conversation that I've had on this particular topic, it's a lot of the times it's women, because I've never had those. I've seen colorism
Yeah,
within my Jamaican family. I've seen it.
yeah.
However, it's never really been in my direction or amongst men. It really, you're right. I'm so glad you even brought that up, because I've heard stories more from women in regards to colorism.
I had to take a step back, and when I thought about it, and I started asking some of my male friends of each complexion. I asked my light skinned guys, I asked my dark skinned guys, and they all said, "Oh yeah, you know, growing up, you were teased." I was like, "No, no, no, not being teased." Because that's one thing. You guys are on the basketball court, I get it. White men can't jump. The old movie, like we all laughed about that. But as an adult, even in your workforce, in your work life, have you experienced colorism? And all the guys that I asked all said no, but all the women can all relate to this conversation as an
Mm.
experience
Wow.
of it.
I just want to point out this comment. Farah says we're too light for our Black community and we're too Black for the white community.
Amen, Farah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Miss Barrientos in the TikTok chat room says it happens in the Latino community too, and I've heard that too.
I've
The
heard that.
colorism
Yes.
within that
Yep.
community as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
But
I mean, if you go to Miami, I mean, it looks like someone who looks like Cameron walking down the street. But as soon as they open up their mouth, it's Spanish, and I mean, they do. They look like little mini Camerons and stuff, or or whatnot, walking down the street, or little Stephanie, But as
What's
soon
the
as they
young
open up their
lady?
mouth, they are like speaking Spanish, and they do not associate with the darker Brazilians. Like, it's literally, you have that colorism, and even in the Mexican community as well. I've seen and heard stories about that.
What's
and
the
shout
young
out to
lady from my Love and Miami Hip Hop? Allegra. What's her name? The beautiful chocolate lady that wears a
oh
big
my God,
Afro push.
Oh,
She talked about that a lot when she was on
yeah, and
Love
that
and
was an
Hip Hop
important
Miami.
conversation to have.
Yeah.
And shout out to Brazil, because one of the fun facts that I shared on my TikTok about the whole slave trade, a lot of Africans went to Brazil, so a lot of them
Yes.
that don't want to own their African heritage. You might want to do some history.
Yeah.
and it's even in the Asian community too. Like, my grandfather was literally right off the boat from the Philippines, and he was of a darker complexion. And that's
Mm.
because the Spaniards invaded the Philippines. So many of them were darker skinned, and then there are some that are very fair skinned. So, I mean, you definitely see it a lot.
Speaking of the Asian community, I think it's important to talk a little bit about what's been going on. And you saw those 8 women in Atlanta where were they? I think they were murdered, right, by that man.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't read the full story, but it's just sort of like if there's no unity, if we're not having these conversations, people are just going to sweep it under the rug. And like Don Lemon said, because of Donald Trump, all of that sort of has been lifted, and people are really showing their true colors.
Exactly. The person that you were waving hi to across the street, coming to find out, they're a closeted racist. You never know, and it's basically, he gave a center stage for racists to be okay to come out and to display their bigotry, where before it was they had it, but it was just behind closed doors.
So what are we going to do? I want to wind this up. How are we going to be able to, after watching this latest episode, there's only one more episode of Basketball Wives, and they're not having a reunion. For those that are just joining us, we were talking about the Real Housewives of Dallas, but of course we segued into Basketball Wives and the issues of colorism. How do you think we're going to make peace with this whole situation?
I think they're just going to end it. And I really feel like Basketball Wives probably won't come back, because here's the caveat. If they let OG go, then that's going to give her a whole new platform to start the whole colorism thing and all this other stuff. So it's kind of like you got to let the show go completely to minimize giving her a platform to stand and talk on, because then she's going to make a big deal if they kick her off the show, which honestly, she wasn't even a good fit for the show to begin with.
And why do you think that, Danielle? Why do you think that?
The show is about basketball wives. At the time, not knocking Kwame, he's over, like they brought in ladies whose men play overseas, but the focus with her was the fact that she was a football player. So here it is that I'm the wife, but I'm the football player. It's almost like Married to Medicine when you have the actual wives who are the doctors, as opposed to being married to the man who's a doctor. OG comes with, I'm the actual athlete, I'm getting ready to retire, and I'm the wife. So that was cute. I thought it was actually going to work. But when you get into her toes hanging over the front of her shoes, and you get into the tacky outfits and the wig that just doesn't look right, she doesn't fit. I'm sorry. I'm a little materialistic. I like my high-end stuff, and she just doesn't fit into that world. She does not fit into the world.
Do any of them fit into the world? None of them are wives.
Okay, so there's that, but they still come. You had Shawnee with the Fendi bag. You got Evelyn with the Birkin. Like, they fit. Jen always coming with, I didn't like that little hat she had on cocked to the side of her head, but she always comes with the good outfits. Remember Jackie's diamond fell out of her ring. Like, even Jackie comes with some whack stuff, but
Jen was the mood this past episode. I was like, that is so me right now, Jen.
Yes, I love Jen. Jen is gorgeous. Jen comes with her crap. I wish that she and Evelyn could make up, but I really think at this point the show just needs to end, because, to your point, none of them are wives except for Jackie, and Kristen's a wife. But then, and that was another thing. OG forgot how she threw Kristen's family under the bus when she announced about Kristen's husband's not really being the father's son and stuff. Like, so OG needed to get her butt kicked back then, and no one ever touched her. So OG is just not a good. No one wanted that negative energy, and that's just something you don't do. You don't come out and say, "Oh, that's not even your husband's real father," for him to be claiming. Like, who says that?
Gabrielle says, I think the issue is OG doesn't fit in with the girls, and her personality is not likable.
Facts.
That's it.
She doesn't, and she doesn't fit in. It's almost as if it's like WAGs. It was this. They were certain type, and the same thing with basketball was. They're all different, but the commonality of who they are, like their style and swagger and everything like that, and their personalities is all kind of in that same bubble. Where OG, it wasn't. I couldn't agree more, Dan. It just was not. It was not a fit. Tried it, but it was not a fit at all. Like, she did not fit in with the puzzle piece at all.
Well, like I said at the beginning of this conversation in regards to Basketball Wives, I feel the production, they were irresponsible in regards to handling this issue. They really should have got someone that was an expert that could probably have mediated this situation, that could have given them an opportunity to have another season. It was just handled very irresponsibly, to be honest with you.
And that's why they should have had a reunion and brought the professional in on the reunion. Let that be.
Yeah, but I think they needed more than just a day to resolve this stuff. I think they could have been resolving this over the season, over those couple of weeks. You know what I mean?
Right. That's true.
That way you're not rushing the process. But I do think this issue of colorism is important to be talking about, no matter what hue. And I think we need to stop shutting people down from having the conversation as well.
Very true.
Ladies, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. And for those that missed it, at the top of this hour, we were talking about the Real Housewives of Dallas and this whole Brandi Redmond story and her husband being caught out there allegedly for cheating on her. If you missed it, check out the video. It should be posted right after this live has ended. Thank you to my special guests, Alani and Danielle. You guys are fantastic. I love when I'm able to have a conversation as opposed to just me talking.
Love you.
Always
love
so much
you.
fun.
Lonnie,
Ladies,
you're awesome.
Oh, you are too, Danielle. Love your energy. I love it.
ladies, don't forget, not just you ladies, but everyone watching, don't forget to like this video. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe and hit the notification bell, because I go live when there's breaking news. So if you don't want to miss out on breaking news, be sure to hit that notification bell. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys very soon. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.